Greg is a 12-year-old boy, and he's telling the story, and I think you need to know that before I get started. Immediately after all this happened to me, I wanted to tell anyone, someone, everyone I knew or even didn't know what had happened. Bad idea, I quickly learned. For as I began telling my tale, the listener thought, weirdo, geek, git. I mean, what happened to me turns out to have been one of those stories that you read on the front of a tabloids. You know, the ones in the grocery store? While your mom is packing the grocery, using her debit card, and telling you for the 40th million time that she will never, ever take you shopping with her again. Now, don't get me wrong, I am sort of a geek. I get good grades at school. Not great, but good. I speak English and German. We once lived there. I play a lot of computer games like Minecraft. I like Minecraft. You can build things while axing to death creepers and zombies. I also like Halo and Guild Wars 2. But back to the geek part. I hang out with my mom a lot, and well, she's different from most moms. Besides, my dad's gone most of the time. I really can't explain it to you, but if I did, I think I'd have to kill you, or at least someone would. Also, I talk. I talk to myself, to the computer, my dog, my hamster, and to anyone around. You get the idea. It started when I was 3. I just started talking and didn't shut up. Mom and Dad, well, at first they listened to me, then they just tuned me out. I think they pretended I was talking to God, as he was obviously the only one willing to listen after a few years of incessant one-sided conversations. Anyway, I've learned to be quiet when necessary, usually around strangers and, well, girls. Back to what happened. It definitely wasn't the kind of thing that one would expect a 12-year-old boy to be telling. These days, I only discuss my adventure with Mom. She believes me. And my computer. Yes, I talk to the computer. Told you that already. You see, I'm writing down it all in WordPerfect. So in the future, when someone believes me, all the details will be there in living color. Well, actually in blue on my computer screen for all to read. I mean, it may be years before anyone except Mom and maybe Dad believes me. Now for my story. Perhaps I shouldn't call it a story, but an autobiographical sketch, not an autobiography. I'm only 12. It happened last summer. First, you have to know my mom is an archaeologist. That's not normal for moms. I mean, all my friends' moms are teachers, doctors, lawyers, work at the mall, or just stay home. Not my mom. She studies ancient people by digging up all the stuff they left behind in the dirt. Oh, yes, I know, soil, as she would say. She's a real stickler for using the correct name for things. First, Mom got a degree in history, taught for a while, then she went back to school and got a second and then a third degree and started living her dream. Right now, she works at a small archaeological site called Crescent Town. So all of this is how I came to be digging a large hole in the middle of an archaic Indian site in late August instead of swimming, fishing, riding my bike, getting in a few hours of Minecraft or Halo, or just plain goofing off. Personally, don't tell anyone. Mom's dream isn't too bad. I mean, we really do find lots of neat stuff. Oh yeah, better tell you, archaeologists recognize 4 periods of prehistory. Mom says the 4 periods are called Paleo-Indian, Archaic, Woodland, and Mississippian. They can actually recognize how long ago people lived on a site simply by looking at the few artifacts. Weird. On this day, Mom decided I should excavate a feature. That's a place where archaeologists think that Indians once did something like build a fire, claiming it would be a good experience. Experience for what? Who needs that skill in their adult life? I really didn't look half as exciting as watching the girls at the pool across the street, but I would not and could not explain that to Mom. So I stripped off my t-shirt and my tennis shoes so that the tread wouldn't leave a design on her nice clean Unit 4 and got busy. The first pit was extremely boring. Just a lot of small, and I do mean tiny, old bones that Mom said were probably rabbit. Then all of the excitement started. It was exciting for me. Everyone else was oblivious. As I carefully troweled away the dirt from the bones in order to expose them for a photograph, don't I sound professional? I uncovered a projectile point. Now, for all your readers that know nothing about archaeology, a projectile point is what most people call an arrowhead. But since bows and arrows are not all that widely used and spears were more common in prehistoric times, all archaeologists insist that these stone pools be called projectile points. First off, this projectile point was just lying there, smack dab in the middle of those bones, broken and glittering in the sun. It was made of quartz, a stone which has lots of crystals. We were working under a canopy, but the sun really made this one glitter. I had been talking all this time, but like I said, no one ever listens. So, hey, come look at this projectile point right in the middle of the bones. Mom jumped. Greg, please don't address me by yelling hey, especially when I'm only a foot away. I keep forgetting she's my mother and not my best buddy, which is how it seems when we work together. Oh, Mom, not now. Just crawl over here and take a look. We discussed what a super fantastic photo it would make, and then she told me to carefully lift the point out of the bones, wipe it clean so it would show up better in the shot. She used the words photograph more clearly. Now I had to carefully place it back where I found it. I was being really careful. These bones were old and crumbly, and I knew she would be upset if they were disturbed before she got her photo. I, on the other hand, had already captured the image with my phone. Anyway, I carefully fitted the end of her baby trowel under the edge of the point and gently lifted it from the bones. As I stood up, trying not to drop the point or step on anything, all hell broke loose. Yes, I know I said hell. If you keep reading, you'll understand why. Anyway, a large brown rabbit flew through the air straight onto Mom's neat excavation unit and landed in the plastic Ziploc bag holding the artifacts. Mom screeched as she was startled, not scared. And I jumped so high I hit the canopy. It quickly started falling in around my head. My arm flew up, the projectile point and Mom's trowel shot through the air and landed right on top of that poor frightened rabbit. At the exact instant he had recovered his head from the artifact bag. Now, all of this takes much longer to tell than it took to happen. But in the next few minutes seemed to take hours. As I reached for the trowel, the point, the rabbit jumped sky high, and all three landed on my hand. Then my world changed. Suddenly, I stood in the middle of a dappled green forest filled with a huge oak, chestnut, and hickory trees on the edge of a river. I think it was the Potomac. I held a scared, shaking rabbit, a trowel, and a projectile point. Only now the point was attached to a wooden shaft and deeply embedded in the bleeding rabbit, which was dying. The canopy, screens, tripods, and Mom all had disappeared. I was sure it was all a dream, just a dream. Or maybe I was unconscious, I don't know. As I stared, the rabbit stopped shaking and lay bleeding in my hand, while only 5 feet away stood a small, darkly tanned boy dressed in those bizarre leather breeches and holding another spear exactly like the one I was holding, except it didn't have a bloody rabbit attached. He kept his spear pointed right at me, right at my heart. Not a dream. Nope, definitely not a dream. At first, I just stood there shaking. I was befuddled. I mean, who does this happen to? Not me. At least it's never happened before. I soon figured out he wanted the rabbit. I sure as heck didn't want it. By the way, I wasn't talking. Dumbstruck for the first time in my life. Slowly, I pulled the spear point from the rabbit, a really gross, really gross experience, and laid the rabbit on the ground. I held onto the trowel and the spear, and for some unknown reason said, "Take it, it's yours," while pointing to the rabbit, which was now quite dead. The boy just stood there staring and pointing that huge spear at me. He never even blinked. Now, if you want to know the end of the book, you have to read it.